I have, Sally, and the best thing about the Chelsea Flower Show is just letting yourself dream just for a minute, because if you had unlimited time, money and patience, you too could have a beautiful garden just like this. As you were saying, the plant growers and designers of the South are exhibiting here at Chelsea this year, and many of them are using the centenary theme. H.W. Hyde & Sons from Ruscombe in Berkshire have 100 new lilies to celebrate the centenary. Some of them are so new that they don't have names yet, they just have number codes. But what's in a name? All the lilies smell intoxicating and they are huge, and some of them are also incredibly rare. Now, there are also 100 heuchera varieties from a lovely nursery in the New Forest called Heucheraholics. Now, I confess to being a heucheraholic myself, because they might not be big, bold, colourful flowers, but the leaves are beautiful and they have such appetising names like lime marmalade, blackberry jam, ginger snap. It's really quite a mouth-watering exhibit. And those beautiful, frothy little flowers that hang above the leaves are just beautiful. Outside the Grand Pavilion, there's a lovely, tranquil artisan garden. It's been designed by Katie Crome and Maggie Hughes. They're from Great Missenden in Buckinghamshire, and they've gone back not 100 years, but thousands of years to look at the role that plants have played in medicine and healing. The garden is called Get Well Soon. It takes its inspiration from the apothecaries of ancient times, from pharmaceuticals that we still use in medicine today for pain relief, for arthritis, and also those herbs that are very popular in alternative remedies. Now, plant fashions have changed over the years, with some plants falling out of favour. But 100 years ago, the top plant, the must-have plant, was the rhododendron. Now, a Surrey grower, a specialist in rhododendrons, is hoping that he can bring them back to the centre stage. Bryony Leyland reports.
For the gardeners of 100 years ago, rhododendrons were a thoroughly modern addition to the landscape. Imported from the Himalayas, they were in demand as plants and status symbols. When Queen Mary inspected the first Chelsea Flower Show in 1913, rhododendrons and rock gardens were the height of fashion.
Some of the big estates were planting rhododendrons on a big scale, and that then crept down into the smaller houses and more suburban houses, and people were putting big rhododendrons into their gardens. And it was a very popular plant at the time.
That popularity has declined in more recent decades, but David Millay, whose Surrey nursery is the only specialist rhododendron grower in Chelsea's Grand Pavilion, believes this is a plant whose time has come again.
There's some cracking new varieties out there. There's some really choice plants that will perform well in most garden situations. We're now doing lime-tolerant rhododendrons, a good range of plants for small gardens. There's a rhododendron for everyone.
Like all Chelsea growers, David has had to coax his plants to be in peak condition for Chelsea. Not easy when the weather has blown hot and cold.
Covered in bud, but I don't think it's going to be open in time.
The strategy here, and at Hardy's cottage garden plants near Whitchurch, is to grow at least 3 times as many as you need and nurture all of them through the unpredictable weather.
The plants don't know where they are, because suddenly they're up at 20 degrees and reasonably warm in the evening. And then you go back down to 10, 12 degrees during the day and right down to sort of 5 degrees at night. And they just don't like it.
Rosemary has won 17 golds at Chelsea and is aiming for her 18th. The pressure is on.
Why do you do it? I do ask myself that quite often. But it's good for our business. It profiles what we're about. We are able to show new plants that we launch. And at the end of the day, there is nothing like Chelsea Flower Show anywhere in the world. Where else can you see that amount of wonderful plant material under one roof?
One wonders if they were ready, Caroline. How did they do?
Well, both the exhibits, Sally, look amazing. There isn't a petal out of place. Rosemary Hardy's soft cottage garden planting looks beautiful with those lovely, delicate little plants flowing either side of a brick pathway. Each plant is beautiful, but neither one steals the show. They all work together as a team. Now, the gardeners have been judged, as you say. The medals are given out tomorrow morning, so another anxious night of waiting. But how did Rosemary and David think that they did?
It was a lot of hard work to get it finished, but I'm really happy with the way things have gone now. It's looking just spot on, it has to be said. We've got a lot of plants on the display which have never made it to Chelsea before because they're too early in the season, so it's just made it different. We've had to play with different plant material.
I'm absolutely delighted the way the exhibit's gone. We were very worried, even only a few days ago, with lack of flower and lack of bud, just things not moving at all. And then suddenly, with all the, we've had extra lights on, a little bit of heat on, and we've managed to get them all out, and the buds have opened, and the display's looking great.
Well, David's rhododendrons, they look absolutely immaculate. And when you think, as Bryony was saying, that they were the status symbols of the day, they were the Lamborghini cars, the Rolex watches, everybody had to have one. And the plant hunters, they were idolised. They used to risk life and limb to bring those exotic plants back so that wealthy landowners could show them off. Much easier to plant hunt now. You can do it on the internet. Much safer too, but there's nothing like seeing them in the flesh, Sally.
Caroline, I mean, it is beautiful there. It's the greatest show of its kind in the world, they say. But I just wonder how it all relates to us, you know, mere mortals who garden, you know, buying the odd plant now and again.
Well, you're right. I said at the beginning that you need almost unlimited funds. These gardens, hundreds of thousands of pounds, but you might come to Chelsea and you might see an iris or a peony and fall in love with that plant, and that might be a love affair that lasts the rest of your life.
Caroline, enjoy the rest of the evening. It really is spectacular. Thank you. That's just a lovely insight into what goes on there, isn't it? You know, it's
Amazing
really
colours,
fabulous. Beautiful colours. And if you haven't got enough of it, then all this week, BBC at Chelsea, starting tonight on BBC